Welcome back to another edition of the Fried Egg Golf Podcast. I am your host, Andy Johnson. Today, I've got a jam-packed episode that centers around Olympic golf. We are at the point where we have the Olympics starting this week. We've got the men's competition at Le Golf National this week, followed by the women's competition next week. I think the Olympics are in an interesting place where they're kind of like floating about. So I thought this would be an interesting episode to put together. We have Nicolas Colsaerts joining to talk about his experience playing in the 2016 Olympics at Rio. He was in the mix going into the final round. Kind of like he didn't have a good final round, but was there, with the thought of possibly winning an Olympic medal. So really cool experience and thoughtful person that I think soaked in the experience overall. And then I'm joined by Garrett Morrison, our Garrett Morrison, to just talk about the Olympics and where it sits today and where we think it might go. So this is a super fun podcast. Nicholas will be up first. I realized I didn't have my mic turned on halfway through this interview. I apologize. You're just getting it through my headphones. So if it's a little bit scratchy, I promise it gets better for the back 3/4 of this episode. So I realized the lights weren't on and I was like, it was early in the morning. I'd flown to the East Coast. It was rough. I was, effectively up very, very early for my body clock. So I flipped it on and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And thanks a lot to Nicholas for joining. All right, Nicholas, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You played in the 2016 Olympics. You played golf. You represented your country, Belgium. I didn't realize your grandfather played two sports in the Olympics, was a basketball and water polo player in the 1920 Olympics. That is, I can't imagine there's a ton of multi-sport Olympic athletes.
No, correct. But I mean, first of all, it was my great grandfather, so we go a long way back.
I was reading that on Wikipedia, and I was like, that can't be right. The grandfather, 1920.
So great grandfather. So we were lucky to have the Olympics in Antwerp in 1920, and then he did a second Olympic Games in 1936 in Munich. So he did basketball and water polo. I think he was only the captain of one of these two teams. I don't remember which one. He was actually in the stadium in 1936 when Jesse Owens won gold and Hitler was there, and Hitler decided to leave for the reasons back in the day. But there was always an Olympic history in the family, which is why I have connected with the Olympics even before it was even a question that golf was going to be a part of them.
Yeah, you played in majors, you contended in majors. You obviously had a phenomenal Ryder Cup in 2012. I'm curious, where does qualifying and playing in the Olympics rank in your career achievement?
Let's not even get into the cheesiness of you represent your country and all that kind of stuff. Like we know that it goes without saying. The thing with the Olympics is, like, I went to the Olympics with two different views. Like the number one was extremely proud to become an Olympian, but number two it was being an ultimate fan of sports. The souvenirs that I get from it is walking around the Olympic Village and stuff like that. I mean, it's almost like I had forgotten that I was there to actually compete, because I was so attracted to the size of the event and some of the things I was seeing, like the different body types and the different nationalities, and also the fact that we do a decent living at our sport, even if you're 100th in the world. Where if you're 25th at rowing, you probably struggle to put food on the table. So, throughout the experience, I constantly was reminded that we were extremely lucky to play 25, 30, 35 events a year. And therefore, to me, it was it really satisfied my sporting DNA to the core more than anything else.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, what's it like, where you're there? How does it compare to like a normal week where you might be staying in a suburban hotel, playing a tournament? What was your week like from a practice? Like, did it change the way you practice? Did you spend more time kind of away from the course, just watching other sports and hanging
Yeah, a
out?
little bit. Yeah, kind of a little bit. Um, Not just for us, but for caddies as well. I mean, like we went. I had, Brian that caddied for me for more than 10 years on the back then, and it was like we were done with our practice rounds and practiced a little bit, and it's like, can we go? There's weightlifting on, or swimming, or I went to see a bunch of field hockey games because I know a bunch of guys in the Belgium team. So I ended up going. I think I went to see all day games except the final. And so they blame me for not winning the final because they lost the final against Argentina. But I kept on pushing my plane ticket to go back home. Anyway, but yeah, you just are completely swallowed by the event and the buzz that the month of the Olympics or the 3 weeks of the Olympics offers. I mean, whatever it was, weightlifting or badminton or diving. We were also in the stadium when the 100 meter final was on. Like, like just absolute biblical moments that you've been watching on TV since you were a little kid, and you were just like, wow, I mean, we're in the stadium with these other guys, these caddies that they carry a bag for a living. They are a huge part of our living and sports. But for them to be able to live this and to tell their parents when they go back home at 45 or 50 years old, they went to the big games. I thought it was quite funny at the same time and super fulfilling for them as well.
Was there a sport that you hadn't like really experienced in person, or was there like a sport that you picked up while you were there, like watching, that you enjoy watching from there? Was there one that like stood out, surprised you?
I thought the weightlifting was quite incredible because these guys, lift those bars they've got like a 3, 4, 5 minute break between, trying to beat a world record or trying to beat the other guy that they're going head to head with for a medal. It was just like absolutely incredible. Um, Table tennis, like it's so quick, so quick. It's absolutely incredible. Like when you stand, most sports, when you go and watch the top of the tree, it's just like if you have that gene of understanding, we might have that because we're already sports professionals, so we can really understand maybe a little bit easier than average Joe. But it's just fascinating to see also the level of focus from the guys. For the field hockey, for example, we ended up going in the bus with them to the games. So it was Pieters and I. Pieters knew a few guys in the team as well because they're from Antwerp, and I knew a few guys because their dad played with my dad back in the day in first division in Belgium. So I went and asked the coach. I was like, "Do you mind? Who's Kiwi? I'm like, do you mind if we just come in the bus with you guys to the games? We sit at the front, we sit in the corner, we don't bother anyone." Yeah, yeah, sure. So we ended up going to like 3 or 4 games with the team in the bus and going to the venue. Like there's not a peep, there's just a little bit of music. Some guys are a bit loud, but it's like, and on the way back when they win, like team sports, it's just, I was a bit jealous. I wish I'd done team sports because, living with guys like that for, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year in preparation of the Olympics, when it comes to fruition like that, we have that a little bit in Radica, but it's only a few weeks building up where these guys are training together for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years all together, living together. And when you beat Holland in the semis, knowing you're going to get a medal, which is our biggest rival, it's just an explosion in the bus on the way back. The guys are jumping at the back. It's just like absolutely incredible.
I do feel I think like the Olympics it's been I don't think it's been like warmly received for golf in terms of like golf's place in it. I don't think like it's been fully embraced by players, fans, the governing bodies of golf. And I think that one of the aspects of what you just hit on that's missing is the team element of it. It's, it kind of is just another individual tournament. You played with Thomas Pieters over there, but did you feel like you guys were in it together, or would you like to see a team element of it? I think Belgium is like an interesting uh, country when it comes
Oh,
to the
you're gonna
rider
give me
come to the Olympics.
you're gonna give me the Illinois thing and Illinois this, aren't
Well, I'm not bringing up Illinois.
you? No,
Belgium is
relax.
an interesting
Yeah.
country when it comes to the Olympics because I think it's like a great example of what golf could be versus a lot of other sports. Like, there's maybe one or two teams that could beat Team USA in terms of basketball, right?
Basketball, yeah.
But in terms of golf, one of the things I think it like from a team element, if you made it a team competition along with the individual, you could get these amazing underdog stories because it wouldn't be inconceivable for four golfers from Belgium to beat the American team or the English team, some of the what would be deemed the heavy favorite teams because of just the fickle nature of golf. And there is worldwide talent, and in 20, 30 countries could field a team that could beat the Americans in a given week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's not many team events in professional golf. Maybe, there was an opportunity for them to fill that gap in the beginning. I didn't really personally feel that because I'm extremely team orientated. Pieters and I in Rio, so we ended up being paired together with some other dude on Sunday, and I was quickly hatched off the race, and Pieters was, almost, with like 6-7 holes to go, battling with Kuchar to get bronze. And in the end, it didn't even matter what I did. I mean, every shot I was with him, I was like, dude, come on, let's push. A couple of holes. If you squeeze 2 or 3, you never know, like there's a chance, blah, blah, blah. And I really saw it as a team thing because of how it happened, because we got paired together and everything, and I was out and this and that. But I think it's some nations will probably identify as more like a team thing, push one another. But then, it's two guys, you got to make sure that they get along with one another, which was our case. So it didn't play against us. But the whole build up early in the week, it might be an individual thing, but you do everything together. You go to the opening ceremony together. You're in the same apartment type thing. I know most of the guys in Paris now are sleeping at the Novotel, which is on site because the Olympic Village is just too far. It's at the north of Paris. Like, forget about it. It's going to take them more than an hour to get to the venue, so it's just unmanageable. But you do everything with your colors. Nations would tend to send, like, look at Denmark, for example. They've got Thomas Bjorn as a captain. I was asked to be a captain for Belgium, last year, and I wasn't really at the moment. They should, if they asked me at another time, I would have said yes. And I actually tried a couple of months ago, but it was too late. But go for Denmark. You have Thomas Bjorn going with Ollison and Øygaard. I mean, like, what more? You can't be more team oriented than that. I mean, you've got a guy that's won the Ryder Cup at the National, who's into the Hall of Fame of European golf, who's as a captain. So it is somehow a little bit team orientated.
Mm-hmm. With you illuminated something that makes the event unique in the sense of, like, it's not just about winning. Most golf tournaments, it's like you finish first and you feel that joyous, like, celebratory aspect that you were talking about with the field hockey team on the bus, like, where they're, that's for golfers. Winning is that, you can leave a tournament really happy about a T8, but you're not in that joyous winning mood. With the Olympics, it's a little different, right? You hit on it. Like, Thomas Pieters was going for the third. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that change the dynamic of you playing playing in an event? Did it feel different where there was this idea of like, it's not just first, but second and third are super valuable. Like that feels like winning.
I I think that if you really understand what the Olympics are about, you know, you look at winning a medal from such a different angle. You know, we've all seen, you know, these pictures of whether it's Carl Lewis or Michael Phelps, or even, you know, we all know this Australian guy at the Winter Olympics that won the short track where everybody fell in front of him. Like, you know, you have an opportunity to make it properly in the history books of not just your sport but sports. I mean, I've got shivers just talking about it. It's definitely different. I mean, I was so nervous on the first tee, so nervous, and you think like, you know, like, wow, like, I mean, I've played majors, I've played in the Ryder Cup, and it was just as bad as teeing up at the Ryder Cup because you know that at the end of the thing, there could be something that you would be looked at from your people at home as in like, wow, that, you know, you've won a medal for Belgium. You're not playing for yourself. You're playing for the colors. You're playing for your country, and hearing your national anthem. I mean, how many times do you get your national anthem played when you play golf? Never. The only time you get your national anthem is you guys at the Ryder Cup. We don't even have our own. We have this European thing that nobody really identifies to. So it's really different. It just hits you different. It's sports. It resonates with just playing for nothing. You're just playing for pride. You're playing for how proud you can be representing your country and your sport. And I mean, it's 3 every 4 years. Every 4 years, you know, if you think swimming, I mean, they have the World Championship, they have the Olympic Games, and that's it. So that's why I think it resonates and it makes it so big.
I think we're, you know, we're in the like early years of golf being back in the Olympics. And I think like it's easy for people to kind of cast it aside as it doesn't really fit. But you know, I'm of the personal belief that as we get 20 years out from this, the event will further entrench itself and it'll become, you know, more a part of the golf lexicon. But you already start to see, like with Justin Rose, he won the 2016 Rio that you played in. And then you have Xander Schauffele winning in Japan 4 years ago. You know, if they're able to add another big name player, it could be this really fascinating event where it's like it kind of chronicles capsules in time of golf because of that. It's only once every 4 years. And qualification is, I mean, it's really hard to qualify for this team. Like to be one of the two best players in a country, or, you know, if you're in a golf-rich country where you could get more than two, you know, you know, you have to be at the very top level of the game. Do you think that as we get more into the Olympics, that it'll become more embraced by whether all constituents, whether it's golf players, fans, and also the governing bodies? I think like the golf's tournaments haven't really embraced it.
I think the view from players has changed. Like the only one was really the first one, and you know, people used the excuse of that Zika virus back then.
Yeah,
which I mean, come on. I mean, I didn't see a mosquito the whole 2 weeks I was there, right? But I kind of understand it as well. Like, you know, these guys came from a schedule of like 25, 30 big events of the year. It wasn't really at the right time of the year. I understand it. But quickly for Tokyo, they all showed up. They all did. And they all realized that it was, you know, something quite unique to be a part of. Yes, the majors are special. Yes, the Ryder Cup is special. Yes, the Memorial Tournament is special. Riviera is special. But at this, you know, this stands apart. And, you know, when you look at, you know, Rory last time was sweating it out to try to win bronze and looked really, really upset, not, you know, getting it done. It just makes you think, yeah, okay, these guys really get it. If you are a sports fan, like, you will get taken by it. You will. There's no, if you don't get it, find something else to do. Go play a regular PGA Tour event if that makes you happy. But if you don't understand that playing the Olympics is special, like I've got nothing to say to you.
I think there is like this added gravity of the Olympic medal, and I think we get so caught up, especially in America, with we're about to hit the FedEx Cup playoffs. One of my favorite times of the year when golf, all that we talk about is how much money's on the line. But like the Olympics is actually like the complete opposite, where there's no money on the line except there's this medal that like represents, I think like an Olympic medal represents a greater kind of symbol in just all of sport, right? Like, it's the first line you say about somebody, oh, he's an Olympic medalist, right? And I think like when you think about that, it's a crazy it's a different gravity. And I think when we go to, in particular, like Golf National, that of course you've won at, getting it home at that golf course with all the water, all the preponderance of problems that can be there, I think you're going to see that real, like, these guys might end up getting, a little bit rattled by the gravity of a medal.
Again, you might very well see that because of, the stage it's on and the last couple of holes at the National. But you first need to understand, I've seen a few medals at people's place in their offices and stuff. And it's just like, wow, it's an Olympic medal. Like you just don't see an Olympic medal. It's like seeing, some books from the Vatican Library. You just don't see them. And yeah, I can only hope that, there's going to be, let's hope that there is, riffraff in the last 4 or 5 holes that, the 3 guys in the position for the 3 medals could be, imagine a group of 6, playing for 3 medals. And I don't even know what's the situation with ties, if it's like just the last round scores and stuff like that, which would be heartbreaking. I mean, imagine sorry, dude, you're finishing 4th because you've shot 71 and the 2 other guys shot 69 and 70, and you just take the bus home to the Olympic Village with nothing around your neck. It would be devastating. So I just hope the guys will understand what they're playing for.
There's got to be a playoff. You can't send something home that way.
It would be kind of harsh.
How did you went into the last day with a chance at a bronze? How did that feel comparatively to a normal week? Was it a similar feeling when you were dealing with like the nerves of was it similar to contending or similar to a Ryder Cup, or how was that Saturday night like?
It was heavy, just like any Saturday night that you go into a last round and you're playing for something big, and it didn't really change much. Honestly, it's just the people would tell you, try to take the end result away from the thinking process, otherwise you're going to start making bad decisions. But it's just like standard sports psychology and all that. Just stick to the process. It's instead of saying the end line. But yeah, I think after 6 holes or something, I was out. So I was like, listen, I only have one job left. One job left is trying to get this Pieters over the line and bring one back, because it would have been a hell of a party. But yeah, listen, in the end, it's just another Saturday night like the other ones. You're trying to do your best, and yeah, it's a looking back now at my age and having done it for like 20, 25 years, you need to be properly bulletproof to actually go through these nights and show up the next day and have clear thinking and get the job done, because it's not easy.
What how do you fancy Belgium's chances this year?
I think they're good. I think they're good. Listen, I mean, we all know Détry, Illinois.
Both two Illini.
Both of them, yeah.
I mean, it's Team Belgium or Team University of Illinois. You could look at it two different ways.
I'm a bit surprised Mike Small's not there.
I'm surprised they asked you to be the coach and not Mike Small.
Yeah, I would have handed it over to Mike Small. But yeah, of course they have a good chance. The girl as well, that Manon de Roy. Listen, she's really good. I think she's in the top 3 or top 5 of the LET. Like, I mean, she's won a few times. Like, she's solid. So yeah, Dutry's played the course a bunch of times. Adrien de Montchassart, I wonder if he's actually ever played it. So yeah, there's a good chance that we get somebody in the mix coming Sunday. It would be quite funny, actually, that Dutry wins a medal after chasing big results, or actually a win on either PGA or European Tour. It would be a fun one to win for his first one.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the mix too at I think at 2 of the majors this year. He was like really kind of in it at one point. I think the weekends didn't go well for him, but he's been around. He's definitely got the game to do it. Yeah, I got to ask you a question. I was researching this. I saw you don't have a hole-in-one. Is that still true? You got one?
No, I do now. So I made my first official one at the Scottish Open last year. And it's funny because I started working with Dave Lindquist, who will be listening to this, one of our Aussie friends, last year. And he was like, "We're going to get one." And I'm like, "Dude, I've been chasing this thing for 20 years. Like, it ain't going to happen, dude. I'm just a black sheep." And we did one in Scotland, which was really cool. But before that, I made one on the practice round at Trump in Dubai on the par 4 with Dutry and Pieters, actually. And I just hold this shot on this drivable par 4. So now
you had an albatross
complete.
before a hole-in-one on a par 3.
Yeah, well, I already had made an albatross in Portugal by holding a 5-iron on the 12th hole at the Portugal Masters one year. So now I can die in peace because I've ticked all the boxes, and I can die in peace because I've made your podcast as well.
I have to say, you had to be like the only pro without a hole-in-one.
Yeah, I don't think there would have been many of us. Yeah, it was really something that really kept me awake at night. Like when it used to come up in conversations. I mean, you might as well just leave the table. When you're surrounded by guys that have had like 13 and 17 by thinning one and getting a good bounce off a bunker. I mean, you're just like, what have I done? What have I done to deserve this? I mean, I think I've hit enough solid golf shots in my life to actually deserve a only one, right?
Yeah. Nicolas, thanks so much for coming on, chatting about the Olympics. One of these days we'll have to do a full pod to dive into more of your career, more of your interests. I know you're in Ibiza right now. I mispronounced it. You told me how to pronounce it before. Would love to dive in.
You missed.
We should do a whole European travel podcast sometime. Like all the best spots.
Anytime. I've always enjoyed watching to you guys. You guys are great. You're amusing. You're quite intelligent. You've got a great sense of humor, even where you come from. So keep it up.
Thank you. Even where we come from. Thank you for that. Last question, as a world traveler, what would be your dream Olympic city host? Where would be the Olympics that you'd most want to go attend if they were going to host it? What city?
Well, I think the next ones are going to be great. I mean, Los Angeles, come on. Los Angeles is going to be amazing. I mean, it's going to be played at Riviera. This is just, selfishly about golf, but I mean, you stick to the big ones, but Los Angeles next time I think would be absolutely awesome.
Yeah. All right. I thought I was going to get some European city, far-flung European city or something, something off the grid. But you went with
Brussels
America.
is too small. Brussels is too small. Can't do it in Brussels, dude.
You could get that American Caesar salad you love so much if you came over.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna get my fix of chicken Caesar salad next time I come. Can't wait.
All right. Thanks, Nicolas.
Good one. See you, dude.
See ya. Today's episode is brought to you by Good Walk Coffee. Our friends at Good Walk Coffee.
They are a company that launched in 2019. A company that brings specialty grade, freshly roasted coffee to those who enjoy great coffee and their other love golf. So they are based in North Carolina, and they have an award-winning roastery, and we have partnered with them to create a couple of our own unique blends. So this is an awesome place to go get your coffee. The way it works, you order it. It's freshly roasted. Most of the coffee I've gotten from them has been roasted in the last week or two. And then they ship it out to you. And it is, we have a fried egg golf blend, which is a kind of a medium light level. They are beans from Central and South America. And it's really, really delicious coffee. I'm a huge fan of a little bit lighter blend. So I'm a big fan of the fried egg blend. And then we also have the shotgun start blend for people that like a little bit darker coffee. So this is a little bit medium dark level of coffee. And the way you can go on to goodwalkcoffee.com, you can order these two blends, or you could order a different blend if that fits your fancy. If you use the promo code fried egg, you will get 20% off your order, and you will get 30% off your order if you start a coffee subscription. So this is the way I have it. I get a couple bags delivered every month. It ensures that I just never run out of coffee. I've been traveling a ton this summer, so I actually have like a coffee surplus right now. I recently gave a bag out because it was like a nice way, like we were going over somewhere. I gave somebody a bag of coffee. It was nice to have around the house, but I really am a big fan of the subscription because it just ensures that you're never going to run out of fresh coffee. So go to goodwalkcoffee.com/fried egg to learn more. Use the promo code fried egg at checkout, and you'll save 20% off just a regular order, or 30% off your first order when you start a subscription. And one call out on the subscription, you will save 10% on all your future shipments with that promo code as well. So big thanks to Good Walk and their partnership of us. Let's talk about the Olympics. All right, I'm joined by our own Garrett Morrison here. Garrett, I got to ask you, are you excited for the golf in the Olympics?
I am so excited for the Olympics. I love the Olympics. I'm a huge fan of pretty much all Olympic sports. Golf in the Olympics is fine. I'm glad it's there. I would like to see it build up some tradition over time, but my excitement level is kind of middling compared to how excited I am to see swimmers and sprinters and even the canoers. Those are, special Olympic sports that we only get to see every 4 years. I get up for those. Golf, I don't know. I got to see more of it. I got to see how the competition develops over time.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I think I'm more bullish in the Olympics category. I think that just in general, this event, I think, is going to age well. Is it exactly how I would want golf in the Olympics from a format sense? No, but I'm happy it's a part of it. I think that there is a great opportunity with golf in the Olympics if the players and the constituents really kind of lean into, hey, this is an Olympic sport. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to really represent your country in, the greatest athletic spectacle there is.
I agree. I think the potential is enormous because there's nothing like an Olympic medal. There's really nothing like it, and that's what this competition has going for it. Plus its association with the tradition of the Olympics, which is second to none in the sporting world. But what it does require is that investment on the part of the athletes. If it's really important to them, then it will become crucially important to us. And I think it was important to Justin Rose that he won his medal at the Rio Olympics. I think that was a big deal to him, and that gave this event some authenticity, some legitimacy going forward. I'm not sure I got the same sense from Xander Schauffele, but then again, I don't really get anything from Xander Schauffele. And so maybe he was deeply moved and excited about winning the gold medal in Japan, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't get much from him about it. And so again, we'll see if these players properly invest. Now, I don't want to come down too hard on some of the players in the Olympics this coming week. But I did notice that some players showed up to the opening ceremony in Paris and some didn't. And again, there are many reasons that players might not have made the time or been able to attend the opening ceremony. But I thought it was really cool that Colin Morikawa and Wyndham Clark were there. They were out there on the boat. They were mixing it up with the other athletes. They have been going to, at least Morikawa has been going to some Olympic events. They seem to be all in. Now, we'll see what Scottie Scheffler and Xander Schauffele show us as far as the Americans are concerned. You know, how much do they really care about this competition? I would like to see that. I'm not saying that they don't, but not seeing them at the opening ceremony was, I mean, it was a bit of a bummer. It would have been nice to see all four of them there.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I think I could see both sides of it, right? Especially for someone like Xander, who's already done. Probably, I think he was at the opening ceremony in Japan. I'm not positive, but if you've already done one, I see like, okay, maybe I don't show up to the second one.
Yeah,
I can understand
valid.
that. I think that it's been interesting. I think from the Olympic side, the women's has been way more successful to date. It has been way more embraced by the athletes and the fans. I think it's like a really big deal in the women's game. I think it serves as almost a major championship to the women, which is how I kind of think. It's not an apples to apples comparison, but I think that if it stays in the greater golf world, that Olympic gold will get to that standing because the scarcity of it. It's just like, it's really hard to qualify for, and there are very few of them awarded. So when you think about it, it's like you have to be one of the best, 20 or so players in the world to have a shot at really like winning one because of the qualification standards. And it's only once every 4 years. Like you think about, I think that's what makes majors so fascinating is the scarcity of them. There's only 4 of them a year. And I think from that sense, like an Olympic gold, if they kind of play their card, if the game embraces it, and maybe they make a few format tweaks could really help it. I think that it could leap into the upper echelons of like the sport and the honors of the sport. Olympic gold medalist has like a nice ring to someone's resume.
Couple of things from that. First of all, why do you think it has become a bigger deal more quickly for the women?
I think it's because they embrace it, and I think they like revel in the opportunity to be on this platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the platform is very meaningful to them in a way that the men might not see it the same way, even though it is an important platform for them. Also, it's maybe harder for them to realize it, considering that the majors are already such a big platform for them.
Yeah. I think that's it, right? I think and I think if you look at the other aspect of it is, I think on both sides, one of the things that the Olympics has going for it is the winners have been awesome. Justin Rose, Xander Schauffele on the men's side, MB Park, Nelly Korda. I mean, those are 4 generational players.
And Rory Sabatini with the silver medal. I mean, how can you get better than that?
I mean, Rory Sabatini has been relevant for 25 years.
He gave up everything to get that silver medal.
Gave up his citizenship.
I know. He gave up his homeland.
Yeah. So I think like the thing for the Olympics is continuing to build off it and having successes with with the, just getting the players more in the boat. And I think like Japan in the men's side was more committed than Rio. Rio was like, I think there was like there had to be some FOMO from people that missed out on Rio.
Probably. Rio looked really fun. Ricky Fowler was there, right? And Bubba Watson?
Yes, that's where he got the tattoo.
That's right, of course. How could I forget the tattoo? I remember Ricky Fowler hanging out, maybe even staying in the Olympic Village and like bringing Bubba Watson along with him and being like, hey, look at how cool this is. This is really an amazing gathering of world-class athletes. And I think golf being part of that is such an honor and such an opportunity, not just a financial opportunity. Like this is some kind of deep experience that they could have, that golfers could have being part of this congregation. I'm a sucker for the Olympic spirit. I'm completely naive when it comes to that stuff. And so I just see that this as a great chance for golf to be part of the international landscape of sports. But I wanted to pull on another thread in what you were saying earlier. You mentioned format tweaks that could potentially give this competition a little bit more juice, make it feel more important. I came up with a few ideas around this, not particularly original ideas, just simple things that could happen. But what would be your proposal for an Olympic format?
I think the easy way that you build this without having to like tear everything down, I think you should have each team should have 3 players on it. And if your country can't get 3 players qualified, then you're just not part of the team competition. I think there has to be a team component to this. So I would get 3 person teams, and I think you shorten the stroke play individual championship to maybe 36 holes. Or kind of just play around with what you want. Have the top,
like a USAM kind of thing.
Yeah,
NCAA's 36 hole medalist.
Like they give out a medal, right? Like that's and then I would have like the top 8 teams qualify for 3 rounds of matches, and then you crown a team champion. I think that would be awesome. I think you'd see real camaraderie. It's 5 rounds of golf. It's manageable, but you get that team and individual element to it. I think the team element's the thing that's lacking,
I would love that. And I agree that a team element would be great and would set this competition apart a little bit. I don't really think it's going to happen. Maybe that's too cynical. The reason they went with 72 hole stroke play in the first place is that it's an easy to understand and easily recognizable format. That's why they did it, just because they weren't willing to really take a chance.
I think the matchups would be incredible. Like, this is the bronze medal match for the team championship. It's I always use, but like Chile could have a team with Mito Pereira, Joaquin Niemann, and I don't know who the third rank, but there has to be a player that's ranked in the top 1,000 of the OWGR from Chile. Like that would be a legitimate team,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think last year we did like a team, or last Olympics, we might have done like a team calculation, and Chile might have won. They were right up there with the American team.
The top end of Chile's golfing talent is really, really strong. All right. Well, so what I would propose a little more modestly, like I would obviously like there to be team match play. Who wouldn't want team match play? That's what all golf sickos want to see. And frankly, I think the wide appeal of it is a little bit underrated. Like the Ryder Cup works, so why wouldn't this work in the Olympics? But a little bit more modestly, if you maintained this event as an individual Olympic event, then at the very least, you could say we'll have 54 holes of stroke play. Maybe even introduce...
Stop stealing live format.
I know. I'm sorry. LIV 54. Yeah. Sorry to all the live fans out there. I wasn't going to acknowledge that until Andy called me out. So I'm a bad guy. In any case, maybe even like a 36 hole cut, you get to 54 holes of stroke play. And then you have a playoff to define the first 4 seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get solo places for 1, 2, 3, 4 through a playoff. It would be a chaotic playoff. Maybe there would be multiple playoffs. There'll be all kinds of scenarios there. It'd be kind of similar to what they do for the medal placements right now. They have to do like a big, complicated playoff. You would do that at the 54 hole mark. And then you would have 4 players seeded 1, 2, 3, 4. And the next day, you would have 2 matches. One is the gold medal match, and one is the bronze medal match. I would love to see that, because I think what's really great and distinct about Olympic golf is the meaningfulness of silver and bronze. That second and third place really matter. Players are motivated to get those places. And to me, a final day of match play that would earn players different medals would emphasize that tension. And it would be a really great thing to watch. It would be the day of Olympic competition that you would have to tune into, right? And it would be something a little bit different.
Yeah, that I like that. I like match play in general. I think like for the common fan, match play is actually easier to understand than stroke play.
It's intuitive.
It's this person versus this person. Yes. The other element of match play that I think is underrated is it brings in the element of winner and loser, like the black and white defined element of he won, they lost.
Imagine the 4th place guy in that situation, the loser of the bronze medal match. I mean, that's brutal.
They'd always be the guy that lost the bronze medal match. Do you remember the guy or gal that? Oh, didn't he lose in the bronze medal match a few years ago? Would be that's how they would describe it.
Oh yeah, exactly. That would be on his tombstone. That would be the epitaph.
I lost the bronze medal match. I like that.
It's a sad way to go. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that would be a simple change, a relatively modest change that would introduce something new to it.
The other aspect I love about golf in the Olympics is the opportunity for the game, like other parts of the country or other parts of the world being exposed to the game. Like I think like there's an emphasis in countries that are placed on Olympic sports and development that goes into people that are playing Olympic sports, because it's such a big deal for countries that are maybe in underdeveloped parts of the world. And I think that is a neat component to the Olympics, and the component that that golf gets from that is like I saw the U.S. Junior was being played at Oakland Hills last week, and I was kind of monitoring matches. I saw one of the round of 16 matches was between a player from Ukraine and a player from Vietnam, and like those were 2 really good young players from those countries. And it's like, you start to think about it. It's like, it would be really cool if someone from Ukraine won an Olympic medal, just like last year when someone from Slovakia, or last Olympics when someone from Slovakia won an Olympic medal.
Yeah, I mean,
but it would be
high times in Bratislava.
Need to see golf continue to develop in these other countries, because I mean, like, I think anybody that's listening to this podcast believes in the virtues of the game of golf, right? And that it's a great game to play, and it's a great game for kids to play. So I think like from that standpoint, I just like, I think like the pessimistic side of me is that, and this is like the probably impact that you're now covering basically 4 years of golf pulling itself apart at the seams over money. Like the pessimistic side of me with the Olympics is like, because it's an unpaid appearance, the players will never take it as seriously as they should, and make it as cool as they could.
That's sort of what I'm worried about too. But the optimistic side of that is that this exposure that Olympic golfers might have to athletes who are world class, but also like have a day job, don't earn millions, playing their sport, even though they're one of the best in the world at it, that exposure to that kind of community, that kind of athletics is really good for golfers and might provide some clarifying perspective on why they're doing what they're doing. I don't think any golfers out there got into the sport because they were interested in money. I think pretty much to a man or to a woman, they got into it because they love golf and they found out that they were really good at it. It was about the game. It eventually becomes about the money at some point in your career if you become successful. But maybe this encounter with a community of athletes who really do it for the love of sport and not for any kind of monetary compensation, which simply isn't there for most Olympic sports, that encounter is very healthy. And I hope that the golfers take advantage of it.
Also, just look at the way an athlete, like the most recognizable athlete on the planet right now, LeBron, like what he puts into the Olympics. And that is an unpaid, it's an unpaid position. And he's playing a sport where there are actual real ramifications of playing a exhibition, where there are potential injury risks, and such. We saw it with Paul George a few years ago on the men's Olympic team, where like he had a career altering injury in a practice for it. This is, golf's a little bit less low stakes, but like, look at that guy. That guy should be the highest paid athlete in the world. I think he's probably close to the highest paid, maybe, with all of his revenue, all of the money he makes on and off the court. He cares about he clearly cares dearly about the Olympics, gives it his all. He's playing like it's the NBA finals out there.
Yeah.
And
Steph
I think
too.
yes. And I just think that golfers in general, they got off to a really bad start with this. Like Rio, I think it like left a bad taste in fans' mouths too. Just the unseriousness of how they took the inclusion. Like, it's an honor to be included in the Olympics. Like, this is a good thing for the sport. And I think like the flip side, the last piece beyond that is the PGA Tour buying in and accommodating the Olympics on the schedule and understanding, you know what, we can pause our season for 2 weeks every 4 years and give the people that play the Olympics a chance. Like, everything should be paused because there are players from Korn Ferry Tour who have qualified. Like, everything should just be paused. It's okay. It's fine. The FedEx Cup's going to be okay without,
you think that they shouldn't hold the tournaments?
Yeah, I think they shouldn't.
Because it happens on a pretty convenient part of the schedule already. I mean, there's not much going on.
Yeah,
Last
but
week's
if you're,
event was the 3M,
But if you're on the bubble of the playoffs and you have to play in the Olympics, that's not like, that's not,
yeah, especially
convenient.
for like non-American players, right? Because the American players are all going to be top 10 in the world for the foreseeable future. This year they're all top 5 players, I think. Right? Bryson DeChambeau is 9th in the OWGR and he didn't even make the team. But yeah, for players from other countries, that would be certainly a factor.
Yeah, so I think that's the last piece of it, and maybe that more so than player greed is the thing that will hold the Olympics back. I think there's this other thing with the tour is like they currently don't own any of the 5 most valuable properties in golf, the 4 majors and the Ryder Cup.
The Olympics is a threat.
Now, if the Olympics became fully realized, now they wouldn't own any of the 6 biggest events in golf. So perhaps
they probably don't want it to be that big of a deal.
I think this is like a real consideration. Does the PGA Tour actually want the Olympics to succeed? And that's super sad for the game of golf if it's true that they don't want it to succeed.
I'd also point out that the LPGA Tour was playing an event last week and is also playing an event this coming week. And I'm not sure what's happening during the week of the women's Olympic competition itself, but it seems like maybe not a huge amount of accommodations are being made on that side either. And so I think golf in general just has to ask itself, what does the Olympics mean to us? But on that theme, though, I wanted to get your perspective on what you think an Olympic medal, gold or otherwise, means for an athlete's career. Like how a golfer's career. How do we contextualize that? We know what a major means. We have an approximate idea of what a player's championship means. I would argue like about half a major. We've got an idea of what those season-long championships mean, the CME Globe and the FedEx Cup. Basically, they don't mean much. They don't tend to get mentioned that often unless a player, has doesn't have any other high distinctions. Oh yeah, he won a FedEx Cup. So
Patrick Cantlay won a FedEx Cup.
Patrick and Billy Horschel won a FedEx Cup. Yeah, which PXG once said was a major in one of the great moments of early golf Twitter.
I forgot that Billy was a PXG guy for a little bit.
Yeah, Billy Horschel. He's really had quite a journey over the past few years. So in any case, where do you think an Olympic medal fits in that? Where do you think it could fit in that? Will it be something that we say like this player won 5 majors and an Olympic gold medal, and the Olympic gold medal is a meaningful part of that?
I think it's to be determined right now. Like it's a part of like the Justin Rose. Like when you talk about Justin Rose, it's like, he won a U.S. Open. He won an Olympic gold. He's been super close in a ton of majors. He was world number one. I think world number one would come before Olympic gold right now.
That's a good one.
Rose
I forgot it. Yeah,
TV. Right.
Yeah.
If you were going down Xander's right now, I think Olympic gold would come pretty shortly after his 2 majors. So I think it's to be determined, but like, I think if we get another really quality set of winners this year, and then you got Riviera going next, I think the Olympics will have started to establish like, listen, like no schmoes come out here and win the Olympics, right? Mm-hmm. I do think like I was talking, the other part of this podcast is with Nicolas Colsaerts, and he was like, the feeling on the first tee is not like it was like the Ryder Cup, there's a gravity to an Olympic medal. One of the things I love about the Olympics is that it's not like there are 3 things that you're watching. Like it's a super compelling event to watch on the last day because first, second, and third all matter so much. Because a bronze medal, like you just think about the Olympics and like the medal count as a country. If you're for a country that has no medals and you could get 1 medal, that you're a national hero. I think that is the unique thing that the Olympics brings, is that Olympic medal, in terms of like the trophy. Everybody was talking about how great of a trophy the claret jug is. You know what's better than the claret jug?
Gold medal.
A gold medal.
Yeah.
Gold medal. Gold medal is unanimously. Yeah.
Have you ever held one? Have you ever
they're heavy, right?
They're very heavy. Yeah. I grew up swimming, right? And so occasionally we would get visited by Olympic medalists. And I held one of Janet Evans's gold medals. And there was something about it. It was like, man, this is cool. It feels like this should be in a museum or something. But yeah, there is a absolute mystique and aura around that trophy.
It's not just a gold medal too. It's a silver medal, a bronze medal. Like
those are also really cool,
And I think like from that regard, I'm like super bull. I think a lot of people in golf are very down on the Olympics, and I am super bullish about their future. I am buying the Olympics.
Yeah, and I think that what's required is complete buy-in, right? Go after it. Do what Colin Morikawa is doing this week. All credit to Colin for investing, showing up to the opening ceremony, going to other events. He is having the experience and doing the thing that needs to be done in order for this competition to really ascend. Ricky Fowler did his job at his Olympics as well, right? Trying to make it significant and getting as much out of the experience as possible, learning from other athletes, like participating in this community. That's what the Olympics is about. It's an international community of athletes who love their sports. And there's something so pure about that. And it is really an honor to get to participate in it. And so the extent to which golf invests in the Olympics and truly commits to it, that is the extent to which this part of the Olympics, this event in the Olympics, is going to be successful. Now, it is a true time will tell situation, though, because one thing about an event happening every 4 years is that, yes, it's special when it happens, like the World Cup. It's so cool when it happens because it only happens every 4 years. But the flip side of that is that it takes a long time for the event, for any given event that happens every 4 years, to gain momentum and to establish some kind of tradition and some kind of hold on the memories of the players and the fans, right? And we haven't gotten there yet with golf. We've only had 2 of them so far. And so the more we have great Olympic golf competitions, the more the event will gain some weight, gain some tradition and memory, and, you know, get all those things that right now the other Olympic events have.
There has to be eventually, like, the sport, the sport in the competition makes sense when you start to have kids that become pro golfers, maybe, that say, you know, I grew up watching golf in the Olympics, you know, because, like, right now, I think one of the things why the Masters is maybe the granddaddy of them all is I grew up watching the Masters, you know, like there's almost like it's like a religion to it, where, like, it is people set aside the time and there's a real ritual around watching the Masters. But I think golf being in the Olympics has the opportunity to have people stumble into the sport. And, you know, we make fun of Grow the Game and all the I think the people that maybe exploit this phrase, grow the game, but putting golf in the position for millions of sports fans, especially from, like, a global sense, like in places that, you know, aren't maybe that familiar with golf, giving them the opportunity, just the opportunity to stumble into the sport is a great, great part of golf being in the Olympics at the bare minimum.
Yeah, completely agree. So hoping for a good competition at Le Golf National.
I'm kind of in. I think I'm in on Le Golf National.
Okay, tell me why, quickly.
I appreciate that it's very different.
From what?
I'm excited to watch a golf course that we don't see all the time.
Okay. I mean, we've seen it
a type of
a good amount. You know, we've Ryder Cups. You know,
I might
the French Open. What happened to the French Open or the Open?
Let me tell you something. The finishes of the French Opens were, like, exhilarating.
Yeah, they were pretty electric. That one with the Tommy Fleetwood one. Was it Levy? Alex Levy was in that one. God, I don't remember, but I remember Tommy Fleetwood, like, sitting there watching people come who were behind him on the day, and that being pretty excited because that last hole is like a true risk
all
reward
of them coming down the stretch
proposition. Yeah, and there's a mixture of tough and gettable holes. Yeah, it is a pretty effective stadium golf course for sure.
Yeah, and like this was just over a French Open. Like, I think it could be a really fun course to watch with Olympic gold on the line. Like, you could see some real meltdowns.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
and I don't. Is our meltdowns the best finishes in golf? Or
no?
Do you like?
I mean, I think it's
like the rising to the occasion?
Yeah, I like the rising to the. I mean, but both. The answer is both, of course, right? And the reason that Augusta National is such a great tournament venue and back nine is that there's potential for both on that back nine, right?
Yeah,
on the same hole often, right?
Did I just talk you into like golf?
No, I mean, okay, I'm inclined to amp up the Olympic competition, golf competition, however is necessary, because I want this to be a big thing that is part of the greatest sporting event in the world. But I think Le Golf is sort of like a Pete Dye course without the personality.
Yeah,
that's
I don't.
my basic take
I don't
on
think
it.
I would really want to play it ever.
No.
But I do think that there's every once in a while I'm okay watching a golf tournament there. I think I'm ready to watch a golf tournament there this week.
Well, I think it's a course that does prefer a certain playing style. And I think one thing about the US team, if we want to be nationalistic here for a second, is that there are a few players who are pretty well suited to this style of course.
Morikawa
is a great course fit here, I think.
Scheffler
is Scheffler and Xander are sort of like all court players.
Yeah.
They can do well anywhere. But Schauffele certainly has proven that at an accuracy test like Le Golf National, where Le Golf National, part of what makes it distinctive is that it truly does reward accuracy off the tee. It doesn't disincentivize distance, but it certainly incentivizes accuracy more than we're used to seeing on regular PGA Tour courses. So I think Xander is well situated. Scheffler can do well anywhere, but he can do well on this kind of course. Wyndham Clark, terrible course fit here. I mean, who knows?
Toasty might
Anything
be the
could
worst
happen.
Course
Toasty is, yeah. Don't you love the Argentinian team here? It's Toasty and Grillo or Grillo. Have we decided if it's Grillo or Grillo?
I think it's Grillo.
Okay. Well, in any case, that's a cranky duo. That's I'd like to see them playing some team golf together. That would be fun.
Yeah, maybe they could get El Pato to round out the third spot.
He did well. He did. El Pato's back.
Yeah,
we don't really want to talk about where he was, but he's back and doing well in senior majors.
Hey Garrett, big thanks for coming on and chatting about the Olympics, and that'll do it for today's show.